So what are people talking about in programmatic CTV today? Well, yes, the buyers are really sort of navigating this marketplace. We're keeping an eye on what people are thinking about, and in reality, there's a lot of the same themes that continue to come up. I would say the first is identity resolution, it's access to premium inventory and supply, incrementality, of course, and then I would say the number one thing that we find that comes up from a buyer perspective is transparency. And I would like to think that the programmatic CTV ecosystem is sort of gone past the infancy stage and maybe even the adolescent stage, but the reality is many programmatic CTV activations, you might be securing inventory and you might be bidding and winning impressions, but oftentimes as the buyer you don't necessarily know what you're buying. And that's frankly just not acceptable today, and I think most buyers obviously are not going to settle for that. So one of the things that we've worked really hard to do at Spectrum Reach, and we're very proud of this, is creating one of the most transparent solutions within the entire programmatic ecosystem. The fact that we have access to really valuable first-party deterministic data, and when we match that with all of our content signals, it really allows us to be way more efficient for buyers and for them ultimately to drive towards the outcomes that they're looking to achieve.
Are there other ways Spectrum Reach's programmatic CTV offering is different from others?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things that set us apart in terms of others that we compete with from a programmatic CTV perspective. The first is the Spectrum TV app. So this is a number that surprises a lot of people, but our app is actually the number one streaming service in the US on an hours per household basis within the markets that we serve. And so what that means is we can provide mass scale with this incredible opportunity to do that within a premium live TV environment. I would say the other thing that probably separates us is the fact that we've got access to really valuable first-party data, and we're great at identity resolution. And the reason we're able to do that is because we're in 30 million homes where we've got both a combination of TV and high-speed data, internet subscribers, so we have a one-to-one relationship with these folks. And as a result, we're able to extract a lot of really valuable data signals that then inform the recommendations that we can make to all of our advertising partners. And ultimately what that does is create an opportunity for them to be way more efficient with the dollars that they're spending with a company like Spectrum Reach. Just to dig into that a little bit further, because we are the ISP and we have this direct relationship, we can match a customer's physical presence with their digital identifiers. So take IP as one example. Because we're also their streaming provider, we can match to their device identifiers. And so when you start to aggregate all of these signals in one unified way, again, it just creates this incredible, transparent, and efficient buying opportunity for all of the programmatic buyers that we work with. And then finally, just to lean into that a little bit further, there was a recent CIM study. CIM is the Coalition for Innovation in Media Measurement. They did an analysis on CTV addressability, and what they found was using IP as one single identifier for the user created about a 60% match rate. However, when you take the MVPD approach and you start to mix in other first-party data identifiers that we have access to, that match rate shot up to 90%. That is absolutely unheard of in the industry, and so again, what that means is it just creates opportunities for advertisers to be more efficient with spend, to control for things like reach and frequency, and ultimately to drive towards better outcomes.
So what are some of the challenges advertisers are facing today?
Yeah, there's still a number of challenges that exist within the space. I would say, to state the obvious, fragmentation. You hear that constantly. I think that's been a common theme for many years now. And the other is supply path inefficiency. The good news is, I think the solve for both of these challenges really is simplification. So if you are a buyer that's looking for ways to be able to buy across a whole host of different types of CTV supply, and premium supply for that matter, you can't do much better than working with a company like Spectrum Reach, just because of the scale that we provide, and again, the opportunity to do that within a premium environment. From a supply path and efficiency perspective, I think the theme that we are starting to see with most of our advertisers and agency partners is really just consolidation with their ad tech partners, so specifically on the DSP and SSP side, because what's happening is many of these buyers are essentially out there in the marketplace competing for the same audiences and the same impressions across disparate streaming platforms and networks, and ultimately that creates incredible inefficiencies and a lot of waste. And so I think the fact that you're now starting to see consolidation happen there, and when you combine that with working with opportunities to join forces with companies like Spectrum Reach that can provide scale, I think ultimately that is the antidote to both fragmentation and inefficiency.
And finally, what's driving the biggest demand for CTV?
Yeah, I would say there's a number of things that I would point to today that's driving the most demand within programmatic CTV specifically. The first is this live environment. The majority of the content that we are delivering to our customers is live, it's playing across the big screen, and that creates opportunities for engagement. Certainly things like live events and live sports, advertisers obviously want to be there and be part of those cultural moments that are unfolding in real time. And then again, I would just say the data piece of it. Data is everything. The CTV environment is obviously free from what's happening with the deprecation of the third-party cookie. So again, there's just an incredible mix of identity signals that advertisers are able to tap into. And I think when you combine all of these things together, it just is going to continue to drive more and more demand and more spend towards programmatic CTV.